Hello, everybody. This is Ryan Koki of the Seahawk Recap Show, and welcome to the Super Bowl 58 game recap. And man, oh man, that Super Bowl was a good one. Honestly, this was a very good game, in my opinion, a very defensive type of game, which I know a lot of people were kind of expecting. And it was great. It went to OT, which is the second time that a Super Bowl has went to OT. So let's get in to the recap of Super Bowl 58. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like, as it lets me know that I've done a good job. And if you would like to see any more future content on this channel, please consider subscribing. Let's get into the game stats. The Chiefs win it 25-22 and win Super Bowl 58. Let's get to the Chiefs stats first because they are the winners. They had 455 total yards, 325 passing yards, 130 rushing yards, averaged 5.8 yards per play, had 24 first downs. They went 9 for 19 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down, had 79 total plays, 3 sacks allowed, 5 punts, 6 penalties for 55 yards given up, 1 fumble lost, 1 interception thrown, and they had 36 minutes and 26 seconds of possession time. For the 49ers, they had 382 total yards, 272 yards passing, 110 yards rushing, averaged 5.4 yards per play, 23 first downs. They went 3 for 12 on third down, went 1 for 1 on fourth down, had 71 total plays, 1 sack allowed, 5 punts, had 6 penalties for 40 yards given up, 2 fumbles lost, 0 interceptions thrown, and 38 minutes and 31 seconds of possession time. And the big thing about these defensive battles, I must say, is not only the third down conversion rate between these two teams, but this was a solid game from both teams. 6 penalties apiece. So you can't blame any rigging from the refs on that. And, this was just a tight game stats wise, and it showed on Ryan's focus players. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and let's talk about Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes, 34 for 46, 333 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 9 carries for 66 yards, averaged 7.3 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns. And in big games, this is exactly why I didn't want to bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, because in big games, Patrick Mahomes shows up. Yes, he did throw an interception, which is very, very rare for Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. But man, going up against a 49ers defense that has been poised all year long that's just something that will happen from time to time, but Patrick Mahomes has a way with just getting the most out of his team, and he throws the game-winning touchdown to McCole Hartman, a former teammate of his. Nice game from Patrick Mahomes, a really solid game from both quarterbacks, but especially from Patrick Mahomes himself. And let's talk about the running back, and let's talk about Isaiah Pacheco, 18 carries, 59 yards, averaged 3.3 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns. And this was something that the 49ers needed to do, was limit Isaiah Pacheco, and they did, honestly, effectively neutralizing him, only giving up 3.3 yards per carry. But, good game from Isaiah Pacheco, still having the wherewithal to get 59 yards against this stacked 49ers front. So good game from Isaiah Pacheco, all things considered, even if the numbers don't really show that he had a really good game. But let's talk about the tight end, Travis Kelce, 9 receptions, 93 yards, 10.3 yards per reception, 0 touchdowns. He was not the guy to get the touchdowns today in this Super Bowl, But man, without Travis Kelce, the Chiefs would have lost this game. I have no doubt about that. You know, it is a safety blanket for Patrick Mahomes. Need a quick catch, need a quick conversion, need a first down. You go to Travis Kelce, and the 49ers needed to stop Travis Kelce and held him out of the end zone. But in crucial moments, Travis Kelce was just very, very good, and he is one of the best tight ends in the league for a reason. I almost put McCole Hartman here because of his game-winning touchdown, but I decided to put the big man himself, Travis Kelce, in my focus players because he's just that good. But let's get to the other side of the football and the 49ers. Brock Purdy, 23 for 38, 255 total yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. And Brock Purdy, man, despite being in the biggest game on the biggest stage of his entire career, coming from the last pick in the draft last year in 2022 to now being in the Super Bowl, he looked really poised. Yes, there were some missed throws that Brock Purdy made, but man, that's his first time in the Super Bowl. Give him a little bit of slack on this one because he played exceptional for what he did. It's just really hard to go up against Patrick Mahomes in your first ever Super Bowl. So good stats from Brock Purdy. But let's talk about the running back, Christian McCaffrey, 22 carries, 80 yards, averaged 3.6 yards per carry, no rushing touchdowns, but had 8 receptions, 80 yards, averaged 10 yards per reception, and had the one touchdown. And it wasn't from Brock Purdy, that was from Juan Jennings, who actually threw a pass in this game and got a touchdown out of it. He played quarterback in high school, and in the Super Bowl, a trick play gets Christian McCaffrey a touchdown, and it was a brilliant thing to watch from Christian McCaffrey. But look at the average yards per rush. That is exactly what a defensive battle will do to these high-powered offenses. And Christian McCaffrey had a very good game regardless, though. Christian McCaffrey really laid it out all on the line. And let's talk about the wide receiver, Juan Jennings. 4 receptions, 42 yards, averaged 10.5 yards per reception, had the one receiving touchdown, and had the one passing touchdown for himself. That is just amazing. If the 49ers did win this game, he was probably going to be Super Bowl MVP for me, just because Juan Jennings came in there as the third receiver on a team with George Kittle on it, with Brendan Ayuk on it, with Deebo Samuel on it. He's the guy on third down. You need a third down, he'll try and get it for you. And he played exceptional in this game. That one touchdown reception that he had, he never gave up the fight and, broke a couple of tackles on the way to the end zone and just spun and kept spinning into the end zone. So great game from Juan Jennings. I can't believe he had such a good game in this one. Let's talk about the defenses and let's talk about Kansas City for a minute. And who else am I going to highlight on the D line but Chris Jones? 2 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles. But you look at Chris Jones, and the thing with this Spagnuolo run team is that they are so adept. The Chiefs' defensive line are so adept at batting balls at the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what Chris Jones did in this game. But you look at the amount of quarterback hits that were allowed on Brock Purdy, he was in there disrupting passes whenever he could. So great game from Chris Jones. If he wasn't there, I believe the Kansas City Chiefs could have lost this game. But let's talk about a DB, Justin Reed. 4 solo tackles, 5 assisted, half a sack, and no interceptions. But again, another guy, another safety on this team that is just so pivotal in the secondary, trying to shut down the wide receivers, trying to shut down George Kittle. And that's what Justin Reed did. He was shutting down George Kittle with the rest of this team. And that's very pivotal because that is a big weapon for the 49ers. So good game from Justin Reed. Some nice solid tackles in there. and half a sack to his name in the Super Bowl. So nice job from him. Let's talk about linebacker Nick Bolton. 5 solo tackles, 8 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But again, another guy, middle linebacker. And these linebackers, Willie Gay, Drew Treadwell, and Nick Bolton, are the lifeblood of this Spagnola team. And man, Nick Bolton, again, just a tackling machine. I've said it so many times with him. And, he's just there. When you need him to be, he'll be there to cover up wide receivers. He'll be there on the blitz if he needs to. And, he was holding Brock Purdy in check and making sure that none of those really big passes could get off. But let's talk about the other side of the ball, and it's the 49ers defense. Let's talk about DT, Javon Hargrave. 3 solo tackles, 3 assisted, 1 sack, 0 forced fumbles. And we look at Javon Hargrave, and when you look at this front four, Chase Young on it, who had a sack in this game. Nick Bosa was covering up Patrick Mahomes, making sure he couldn't get out of the pocket as easily in that first half. And that was pivotal to their success in the first half. But you got, Eric Armstead, who fell on a fumble. And, you got Javon Hargraves, who is just an insane run stuffer. This is exactly why Isaiah Pacheco couldn't get things going on the ground. A couple of fumbles by both running backs in this game. And these defenses, especially the D line for the 49ers, was pivotal in this game. And if they had probably gotten another sack and capitalized off their turnovers, they probably would have won this game. But let's talk about DB safety Jair Brown. Sadly, he was taken out of this game, I believe, in the second quarter, but he had 7 solo tackles, 4 assisted, 0 sacks, the 1 interception on Patrick Mahomes. Jair Brown everywhere on the field. Just, again, 7 solo tackles, was there when he needed to make hits, was there to help his teammates when they needed to get people down, and he got the 1 interception, which was pivotal. Winning the turnover battle, but not really capitalizing off of those turnovers was the name of the game for the 49ers defense. And if they had capitalized on just one of those turnovers with a touchdown, they probably would have won this game. Let's talk about linebacker Fred Warner. 9 solo tackles, 4 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, and he was flying everywhere around the field. Whenever you needed a big hit, Fred Warner was the guy to make it. And, losing Dre Greenlaw, part of your big linebacking core, that really hurts. He was taken out with an Achilles injury, but man, Fred Warner really stepped up in this game. And if they had Dre Greenlaw, this game probably could have ended up differently. Let's get to my final thoughts. The Kansas City Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions, winning Super Bowl 58. Kansas City becomes the first team to go back-to-back since the New England Patriots won the 2004 and 2005 Super Bowls. That is 2 decades ago. That is insane. Congrats to the entire Chiefs team. You guys played great in that second half and OT. And congrats to Harrison Butker, man. Without him, 4 for 4 on field goals. And that's just insane to see the special teams coming through for the eventual Super Bowl champs. Nice game for the 49ers. You guys had a fantastic season and you pushed Patrick Mahomes into OT in the Super Bowl. You guys fought tooth and nail to the bitter end. Sadly, you guys just came up short. However, I have a feeling you'll be back next season in the playoffs. You guys are just that good. And honestly, a lot of people want to blame Kyle Shanahan and say, oh, get him out of here. He doesn't win in big games. He lost in the second ever OT, and he lost in the first ever OT in the Super Bowl era in Super Bowl 51, which was the last time that happened in 2017. And people are really ripping on him. And I'm like, dude, he made it to the Super Bowl with a quarterback that was Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft, a game manager type of quarterback. And you know what? I think you run it back next year, you see what happens because you're one of the best NFC teams in the NFC. You're the guys that could take the fight to Patrick Mahomes. It was just a couple of turnovers that, didn't go your way. You couldn't get things going on offense against a high-powered Chiefs defense. So whatever you're gonna do, don't do anything really rash because you guys actually played a really solid game. It's just that the Chiefs are the Super Bowl champs for a reason. They made it here for a reason. And it's a very tall task going up against Patrick Mahomes. All in all, I think the Super Bowl was really fun to watch, especially in the fourth quarter and OT. This game highlighted two very high powered defenses, and it came down to just a few plays on offense that would seal this game. Also, it came to a few plays on special teams as well. The fumbled punt by Ray McLeod, where the ball just tapped one of his teammates on the foot and he had to scramble and come back for it, and the Chiefs just pounced on it. Every opportunity, every possession in the Super Bowl is so important. And that's the thing in Super Bowls. Look at how tight this game was. 10-3, 10-6, 9-3-6. Like it's insane. There was a defensive battle in this one, and that's why I really love close games like this because it's not a blowout. This game is just won purely off of the opportunities that are given to each team, and the Chiefs just come out better in this one. Anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully on Wednesday, as I will be doing much more Seahawks off-season content, and I'm going to be talking to you about my plans for the future. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.